let's review the booster incentives one more time in a little more detail to make sure everyone's questions are answered. The first one is booster perks. So there is a perks pool for boosters, which will eventually have 1.9 million Vitru. Why do I say eventually? Well, the way the perks pool works is that 1.9 million Vitru, it's vesting over 24 months, daily, over 24 months. And it sits in a vault until there is a rebase event. Keep in mind that the Vitruvio blockchain is a performance-driven rebase blockchain. Rebases only occur when the transaction goal is met for that particular day. So let's say, for the sake of explanation here, let's say you got 2 days without a rebase, but on day 3 you have a rebase. Well, what will happen is in the perks vault, 3 days of perks will have vested. Those will be transferred into the perks pool. The moment they are in the perks pool, they're eligible for anybody to claim their share of, right? The perks pool is always growing. It will keep growing. And over time, you will have the 1.9 million Vitrus. Now, what happens if you claim? You know, the Nexus NFT will have a claim feature where you can go claim your perks, and you can do that anytime. You can claim a portion of them. You don't have to claim all of it. But basically, if you think of your share as 100%, and let's say on day 1 you go and claim 25%, now what happens is that you only have 75% of your allocation available in the pool. Any new perks tokens that come into the pool, that 25% of yours that you claimed is now distributed among all the people who are still in the pool and still holding. So if you want to claim your entire 1.9 million, your share of it, actually with rebasing it's 9.5 million, it behooves you to stay and leave your claim there until the rebasing is complete. Once the rebasing is complete, the perks pool is not going to grow, and the vesting is going to be done well before the rebasing. So the perks pool, think of it as sort of a long-term benefit for you. If you want to, claim it, that's your prerogative. But I'm just saying that the intent of it is sort of a longer term. Now, if you're wondering how you calculate what your share is, it's pretty simple. At the end of this campaign of selling boosters, we're going to have a total number of booster Vitrus available. We add them all up. The boosters, the super boosters, we add up all those Vitrus. That's a total. So you divide how many booster Vitrus you have. Those are basically called perk units. And you divide that by the total, and that's your share. That gives you a percentage. That's your share of the perks pool. That's what you're going to get of that 1.9 million, eventually becoming almost 10 million, right? Next is Revshare. So whenever a buyer on the Vitruvio blockchain licenses any artwork created by anybody for any type of license, 2% of that goes into a smart contract, and that contract is essentially a Revshare contract. And it immediately distributes that into 4 components. 30% of that goes to the DAO, 35% of it goes to the validators who run the network, and this is the way of having income. And boosters get 30%. So there's a pool of that's 30%. And we have a special early birds. So the first 1,000 with 7+ transactions get 5%. So that's how the revenue is split up. So if someone buys $1,000 artwork, the DAO fee on that will be $20. The DAO will get $6. Validators will get $7. Boosters will have $6 that's distributed among them pro rata using the formula I just told you, and early birds will get $1, and that'll be distributed pro rata also. So to give you an idea of where we are going with this, you may have already done your market research, but if you look at the big marketplaces on Ethereum like OpenSea, Blur, Foundation, etc., you'll see that their sales in sort of the past year or so were in the range of 1.5 billion or so. Now it's year 5 or so of their existence, so it's not like we're going to get there right away. But if you think of your booster and think of Revshare as a longer term sort of investment, then we certainly hope to get there by having millions of assets on the blockchain and having lots and lots of sales transactions. So our goal is to make sure that every artist has an income that's sustainable, so they can have a livelihood. And so our goal is to help them make money. And in the process, the protocol also captures some of that revenue through fees, 2%, and we allow all our supporters to also benefit from them. So in a sense, this would be one of the first sort of decentralized protocols where there's actually revenue, perpetual revenue, streaming into the people who contribute at this early stage in its infancy. It's a contract and it has no constraints. It is there forever. So if you have a booster, you're gonna get part of that 30%, and it's not in or it's and if you're an early bird, you're also gonna get part of that 5%. So you're gonna have two sources of perpetual revenue there. All right. I just talked about the early bird special, but this slide here has a little example here. So it just shows you that it's transactional, right? So make sure that if you intend to be an early bird and benefit from that you have at least 7 boosters in the transaction. The first 1,000 of them get it. So in my example, Jack buys 7 boosters. That's transaction number 1. Boom, he's in for our early bird transaction. John buys 3 boosters. That didn't meet the minimum level of 7, so not an early bird. Jane buys 12. Boom, transaction number 2. So if Jack and Jane were the only 2, which they wouldn't be, there would be 1,000. They would each get a share. So now Jane is going to have a larger share than Jack because, as I mentioned earlier, there's no gimmicks or anything like that. It's straight up your number of boosters that determines your units of Revshare, and you get that. Okay. Next is the sneakers. So a few weeks ago, I had Zhao on here of Diverge Sneakers, and we talked about how we are commissioning the artwork from 2 artists at this point. So we're going to have one artist who's quite well known here. We are working on finalizing the arrangement, and we're going to have an indigenous artist too from South America who's going to have one of the artworks. So there's going to be 2 designs of this unique Genesis sneaker, and the first 250 booster purchases, limit 3 per wallet, will get these sneakers for free. Also, anyone who buys a super booster, for each 25K you spend, you will get 1 free sneaker. But if you don't qualify under one of those 2 criteria for getting a free one, we will make a limited number of them available for people to purchase at $120 each. So that's really, really exciting. I cannot wait to get one of these sneakers. It's pretty cool. All right, referral link. I've talked about it multiple times now, so probably not going to repeat too much, but basically you're going to have a link, and when someone clicks that link and uses it to buy a booster, they get 5%, you get 5%, provided they are a newcomer to the ecosystem. And then come the goals. So with anything, you want to have some goals, and our primary goal for this ecosystem is to raise as much capital as we can in order to fund the ongoing development of the protocol and to provide liquidity. So we need to provide liquidity for Vitru on the exchanges. We also need to provide liquidity for the Vitro DEX token. And in order to have that happen, we need to raise capital. So the more capital we raise, the stronger a position we can be in. And so we've provided these bonuses to help incentivize folks to help us get to those levels of funding.